What is happening, guys? ARCHIEzzle here and welcome to another video. Archies, hope you guys are having a great day. Today's video we're going to be talking about the new Army PT test that is supposed to be implemented this summer. For those of you guys who don't know, Army Reserves, Active Duty, National Guard, we use the old APFT, the Army Physical Fitness Test. It consists of 2 minutes of push-ups, 2 minutes of sit-ups, and 2-mile run. And once again, if you don't know, APFT PT test in the Army is also used to determine promotions. Depends on how much you score on the PT test, it will equivalent to a certain amount of points that will be used for your promotion. The more points that you get, so you can get promoted easier and faster compared to the other soldiers. It's a way to determine and weed out who's physically fit and who's not, and supposed to be who's combat ready and who's not combat ready. A little information about the APFT, okay? So I joined the Army in 2011. That's when I went to basic combat training in Fort Jackson, South Carolina. And since then, I always hear that there's gonna be brand new PT tests coming up, you know, new events. Instead of 3 events, they're gonna add more, they're gonna take away some. The PT test, if you don't know this, the one that we're using, the 2-mile run, the 2 minutes of push-ups, the 2 minutes of sit-ups, has been ongoing, has been utilized by the Army for ages. Even before I was in the Army, like 20 years ago, that's what I'm tracking. So this is not really brand new news. The Army has announced it so many times while in TRADOC, while in AIT, and sometimes in your actual current unit, operational active Army unit. They always put out like, oh, we're doing this test because we're putting out, or the Army's putting out a brand new PT test to ensure no one gets hurt, make sure everyone's physically fit, and you know, to actually weed out again who's combat ready and who's not combat ready. So the new Army PT test will be called the ACRT, which stands for Army Combat Readiness Test. Instead of the traditional 3 events, there will be 6 events, which includes a 2-mile run, a 250-meter sprint, drag and carry, a maximum weight deadlift, the leg tuck, a standing power throw, and the T push-up. The events were selected from a pool of around 30 initial options that the Army tested at Fort Riley, Kansas in 2014. People also do not get confused. I know a lot of brand new recruits and some active duty service members have asked me, what is the difference of the old Army PT test, the 222, versus this new ACRT PT test and the OPAT? Right now, the Army still using the same old PT test, the 222. The ACRT is coming up. Now for the OPAT, Occupational Physical Assessment Test, that's only given to people that are brand new or about to join in the Army, recruits, future soldiers, that's it. It's not implemented in the actual Army. But again, I cannot stress this enough. I've heard so many times for the past 6 years I've been in the Army, like, oh, we're gonna revamp the PT test. A lot of people actually have complaints about the traditional PT test, you know, high risk of injury. It's too much focusing on cardiovascular stuff or calisthenics, like when do you actually run 2 miles in combat? And think about this also, active duty service members, veterans, and future soldiers, if you have an idea what I'm talking about. Whenever you go to the field, whenever you go to an FTX, whenever you go to JRTC, whenever you deploy, whenever you do some sort of training, we don't really run 2 miles, but still it is utilized. So yeah, a lot of people are complaining like, yeah, this old PT test, you know, the 2-mile run, the 2 minutes of push-ups and sit-ups, it's so flawed. Like, it doesn't really show who's physically strong or not, because it doesn't really correlate to what the Army aims for. Remember, the US Army is the strongest fighting force on ground, so we have to deal with a lot of combat. If you're not really front lines, if you're not really a grunt, if you're not really involved with combat arms, you know, most likely you're gonna be in a support MOS. But still, the Army preaches this a lot, especially when you go to Army basic training, that you are a soldier first, so when needed to defend and fight, you should know the basics. And supposedly, this new ACRT will be a better way to weed out the weak people and actually get you prepared and see how your physical fitness is to be combat ready. My question to you guys are, how many times have you heard it in the Army? Like, oh, there's gonna be a brand new PT test. Do you think this brand new PT test idea, the ACRT, the Army Combat Readiness Test, is actually more effective than what we're doing right now? I'm just curious because they took away the actual 2 minutes of push-ups and sit-ups, but they still kept the 2-mile run and just added extra stuff that's similar to CrossFit. What is your take on this? If you are to determine to change, or if you're the one in charge, you know, let's change the Army PT test so it can actually correlate to being combat ready and all that stuff. What events do you want to see in the PT test? What standards, you know. And with the new PT test, you got to think about this age bracket, you know, the difference between the genders, and so much more. So it's still in the works, but hopefully it happens, hopefully not. It's really over my pay grade, but I'm ready for the change, and let's see how this goes. If it rolls out this summer, we just got to do it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Let's start a conversation. Let's talk about PT. You think it would actually be helpful or not? If you haven't done so, please subscribe. Hit that bell icon to be part of the notification squad. Hit that like button also to help the channel grow. And that is it for today. ARCHIEzzle out.